Hello, my name is Elena, and welcome to this introduction to yoga practice. So, you may like to have a couple of props handy, perhaps some yoga blocks or a blanket. And we'll begin with child pose. So, come to the hands and knees. Bring the toes together and send the tailbone towards the heels. We take the knees wide to the mat and allow the forehead to rest onto the floor. Reach the arms overhead, but bring the shoulders away from the ears. Spread the fingers wide. Press the fingertips and knuckles into the mat. Connect with the Ujjayi breath. Slight constriction at the back of the throat. Inhaling and exhaling through the nostrils. Inhale, look up between the hands and pull yourself up to tabletop. Allow the hands to rest under the shoulders, knees under the hips, shins parallel to each other. The backs of the feet can be flat or the toes can be tucked under, whichever feels comfortable. Spread the fingers wide, press the floor away from you, allowing the torso to be long and strong. Inhale, lower the belly towards the mat, look forward, take the shoulders back. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under, round the spine, look towards the thighs. Inhale forward into cow pose. Exhale, back into cat. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And come back to neutral in your tabletop. Moving into plank pose, extend one leg back, bring the ball of the foot onto the mat. Find length through the body, extend the other leg back. Finding length and strength, pressing through the heels while the crown of the head reaches forward. Allow the breath to be smooth and easy. Press the floor away from you. Lower one knee down, and then the other. And lower all the way down to the mat for Cobra pose. Rest the forehead on the mat. Place the hands wide to the mat. Hug the elbows in towards the body. Inhale, look just a few inches forward. Press gently into the mat. Lift the chest up. Allow the shoulders to be back. And exhale, lower down. Have the backs of the feet pressing slightly into the mat. Inhale, look up. Press into the hands, lift the head, lift the heart. Shoulders away from the ears. And then lower down. First, take whichever version of Cobra feels best for you. I'm taking a baby Cobra. Wish to press up higher, you certainly can do that. Moving into locust pose. Extend the arms alongside the body. Palms facing the body, thumbs towards the mat. Lift the head, lift the heart. And from the hips, lift the legs. Allow a gentle curve through the body. Doesn't matter how high you go, you're working the back body here. Take an inhale, exhale, lower down. Stack the hands in front of you, rest the forehead on the hands. Bring the hands under the shoulders, press into the mat, press back up to tabletop. Find your alignment here. Walk the hands slightly forward of the shoulders. Tuck the toes under. Tip the tailbone towards the sky and then lift the hips toward the sky, keeping the knees bent. Find length through the spine. Find the best position for your feet. And then you can begin to straighten the legs, maybe pedal out the feet here. Getting some stretch in the calves and the hamstrings. To work towards having a long spine, press the heart towards the thighs. Roll the biceps towards each other. Spread the fingers wide, press through the fingertips and knuckles. And take a few breaths here in downward facing dog. Low forward between the hands, walk the feet to the hands. And enjoy your forward fold that you're going to naturally walk into. Keep the knees bent if that feels best for you. That feels best for me, so that's what I'm going to do today. The hands can go on the floor or maybe around the ankles. Allow the head to rest. Bring the hands to the shins. Take an inhale to a half forward fold. Shoulders back. Bend the knees. Take the hands to the hips and rise up to stand in your Tadasana. Find your mountain pose here, four corners of the feet on the mat. Feet are about hip distance apart and parallel to each other. Find strength and length through the body. Hands out to the sides. Strong arms. Imagine the crown of the head, or feel the crown of the head reaching to the sky. From your mountain pose, your Tadasana, take your hands to the hips, bend the knees, and sit down into your chair. Notice if you can see your toes in front of you. Notice if the back is arching, hug the belly in here. Allow the tailbone to move towards the mat. Find whichever position works best. You can keep the hands on the hips, or you can work towards reaching the arms overhead. Wherever they go, it's fine. Connect with the Ujjayi breath. Inhale, reach up to the sky, extend the legs, hands to the hips, and find your mountain pose. Hands to the hips. Take your feet slightly wider, hip distance or perhaps slightly wider. Peel the right heel off the mat and step that foot back to a high lunge. The back heel is off the mat. Lift that back hamstring. The right knee is going to stay over the ankle. Hug the belly in, tailbone heavy to the mat, lengthen the spine. Take whatever time you need to make these adjustments and find your balance here. Next option, you can raise the arms overhead. And notice if you're dumping into the spine, remember to keep that belly hugged in and the tailbone heavy. Bring hands back to the hips. Step that right foot forward. Place it down. Shake it out a little bit. Then on the other side, peel the left heel off the mat. Step back into your high lunge. Find your position right Knee over the ankle, lift that back hamstring, square the hips to the front of the mat. Tailbone down, hug the belly in. The arms overhead if you wish. Lift with Ujjayi breaths, bring the hands back to the hips. With strength and control, step forward, back into your Tadasana. Come to the center of the long edge of the mat and take a wide stance. Bring the feet parallel and then turn the toes slightly inwards. Take your right foot and point those toes to the short edge of the mat. You make any adjustments here. Press through the outer edge of that foot. Keep all four corners of the foot on the mat. Hands to hips. Bend the right knee. Center of the hip with the center of the knee with the center of the foot. Alignment here. So find that strong foundation before you go anywhere else. Lengthen the spine, hug the belly in, tailbone down, and then you can extend the arms out and look over the front arm. Bring the hands back to the hips, straighten the front leg. Take the back hip away from you. So back hip goes in the opposite direction. So you're hinging at the front hip. Reach that front arm forward and then place the hand where it goes. Perhaps it goes just to the inner thigh or to the chin, wherever feels comfortable. Keep length through both sides of the body in this triangle pose. Option to extend the opposite arm overhead, or you can keep that back arm on the hip. Inhale, lift back up to standing. Bring both feet to face the front. Toes slightly in. Take the left toes, point them towards the short edge of the mat on the opposite side. And bend that left knee. Press through the outer edge of the back foot. Center of the hip with the center of the knee with the center of the foot. Lengthen the spine. Hug the belly in. Tailbone toward the mat. Extend the arms out. Look over the front arm. Warrior two. Breathe in and out through the nostrils. Ujjayi breath. Straighten that front leg, hands to hips. Back hip moves away from you. Front hip is hinging. Reach that left arm forward. And then place that hand to wherever it's going to go. Keep the length and strength through the torso. Find an even length on both sides of the body. Option to raise the opposite arm overhead. Take hands to hips, rise back up, come to front. Heel toe the feet together, back to Tadasana, mountain pose. Keep the hands on the hips. Heading into tree pose. Heel the right heel off the mat. Rotate that leg out. And place the heel on the left leg. Stay right here. Notice if this hip is jutting out, plug that in. Next option is to take the sole of the foot to the shin. You may fall in and out of these postures. This is usually where I stay in tree pose. You can play with the positioning of the hands, coming into hands to heart center or raise them overhead. Try a swaying tree in the wind. If you'd like to challenge yourself more, you can take the foot to the inner thigh, which I'm struggling to do today. So, okay, let's give this a go. There we go. And hands to heart center. So you can see sometimes you need to practice coming in and out of a posture before you can get there. And always stay with whichever version works best for you. Let's do tree pose on the other side. First, find your Tadasana, your mountain pose. Peel the left heel off the mat. Turn that leg outwards. Heel to ankle. Next option is the sole of the foot to the shin. Side of the shin, the calf. Start center. And notice if this hip is jutting out, hug that in. Lengthen the spine. Next option is to bring that leg up. And this other side doesn't want to go there. There we go. Stay with whatever version works best for you. Come out of this posture with strength and control. Stand for a moment in Tadasana. From Tadasana, make your way down onto the mat into a seated pose. So you can just come right on down. Find your Sukhasana, easy pose for a moment. And then bring the sole of the feet together into Baddha Konasana, bound angle. Place the hands on the ankles or the shins. Sit up nice and tall. If you're struggling to sit up tall, please sit up on something like a blanket or rolled up towels. Then take the hands to the outside of the knees, bring the legs together, and come to sit lengthwise on your mat. For a moment, in staff pose, extend the legs in front of you, dorsally flex the feet, spread the toes, so the toes are coming towards the knees. Press into the mat beside you, sit up nice and tall. Easy breath. Chin down a little bit. And take the hands under the knees, bend the knees. Work on your version of boat pose. I'm going to work on this version right here. So lean slightly back, long spine, hands behind the thighs. You can let go of the thighs. Maybe this is where you're at today. You can practice with lifting just one leg or the other, or both legs, or you can extend both legs out long. So again, do whichever version of boat pose is good for you today. Deep breath. Lengthen the spine. Start to slouch, change your position wherever you need to go. Release that boat pose down. Shake it out. Come to lay down on your mat. Hug the knees into the chest. Maybe rock around from side to side a little bit here. Bring the arms to the side, cactus arms. Bring the shins parallel to the sky, the legs about 90 degrees. Inhale, Exhale, lower the legs over to one side into a spinal twist. Inhale, bring the legs back up to center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale back to center and release. Find your Shavasana, your pose of rest. Stretch the legs out long. Rotate the palms to the sky and surrender to the ground beneath you. Find your place of relaxation. Your back is tender, put something under the knees. Allow smooth, long breaths, allow the shoulders to be flat. And to invite some gentle movement into the body, wiggle the fingers and toes. Maybe rock the head from side to side. Bring the knees into the chest. Rock around. When you're ready, roll over to one side. Press yourself up to a seated position. Bring hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank yourself for giving you the gift of this practice. I hope that you will continue to practice yoga, explore your options, and make this a part of your life. Thanks so much.